Hello, we are live. It worked.
Hello.
So I wanted to introduce Claudine Charles to the Confidence Through Cabaret community because we had a wonderful conversation last week.
Yes.
Eventually, once I got over the technology issues, and I'm so excited by your work, Claudine. I wanted everybody to be able to share in the community about what it is that you do and to get to know you better and to be able to reach out if it's something that kind of suits their needs of the minute. And it's always great to have collaboration and connections anyway. Yeah, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the invite and the opportunity to speak to your community. I really do appreciate it. And it was great speaking to you last week. I thought we had a really good conversation and great connection. So I'm glad that I have a second opportunity to have a chat with you.
Yeah, lovely. So tell us a little bit about your work.
Yeah, so in terms of my work, I work in two kind of areas. So on a day-to-day, I work with corporates where I help them to design training courses. So it could be leadership development. I could be helping them design an e-learn, coaching, doing psychometrics, and that's what I do on a day-to-day. But then I have another business where I help business owners to help increase their visibility and their brand online. As we know, the world is changing. Everyone has to do things online. Everyone needs to network online and get a number of their leads online. So through this company, I help business owners to improve their visibility, because at the moment, so many people have a presence online. They may have a company page, but then how are you drawing customers to you? How are you engaging with your community and building that community? And that is what I've been helping business owners to do. And it was launched around the time of Brexit in the UK. So, there was a lot of time where people going through kind of the whole famine and feast of work. And I felt that I had developed expertise in this area. So I thought to myself, I'm going to launch a business. And I also wanted to do it because there's so many different companies online who help you build your brand and help you increase your visibility. And people have made a business of it. But one of the things that I have is that I'm a business owner as well. So I kind of understand the difficulties of running a business and having those different challenges, as well as kind of doing the whole online marketing. And I think that's really beneficial, the fact that I could actually say I can understand what you're going through and what you're experiencing within your business. So that is what I do through my Instagram community. And that's how we met. So, yeah.
It is, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, we when we were talking last week, and I would imagine anybody that's watching this in the replay will be able to resonate with that. When you connect with people, you find that common ground,
Yeah.
And we found so many common grounds in our families.
Yeah.
And also, the fact that we both do corporate training work and we both do coaching, and that we both have kind of the two businesses.
Yeah.
But where we are different is that you know so much about Instagram and about business development online.
Yeah, so I have been just connecting with people, and I think that's something that is very easy for a lot of people to do, because we connect naturally in our businesses. So I've just been reaching out to people through my businesses, not just in like the comments on posts or through DMs. I've been having meetings with people, and one of the things I always find is that there's so many similarities that we have as people. As soon as you start talking to people, a lot of the time I just have conversations and I don't necessarily even have an agenda. So when I have a conversation, I'm not thinking, hey, let me upsell them onto my next product. It's just to see how a conversation emerges. I had a conversation with someone last week, and they are a published author, and they showed me, or they took me through the steps that they went to get published and how I can do it in a really affordable way. And I didn't necessarily think to myself, hey, I'm going to have a conversation about that. We just we're similar to you, we're in the same area. So they were in training development, in corporate development, and we just connected, and that just came out. And I have so many of those conversations where I'm not just necessarily sharing information or educating them on online digital marketing or how to grow their brands. You know, I'm learning a lot through other people because we have so many differences. And even though I kind of do go out and I educate myself, I've done courses, I'm always getting little snippets because I find that everyone almost has a bit of a piece of a puzzle. They have something that they can share with me. And a lot of the time I share that with a lot of my community. So yeah, that's what I love. I love just kind of connecting with people. And I do find that we are so similar. We in this world at the moment, there's so much about difference and divide and conquer. You know, gender. You know, a lot of people say that, and I just find that when you just connect with people and people that are even different to yourself, you always do find a common ground, and that's what I've really liked, and I've really loved the fact that I'm doing it at this point in time because of the way the world is, and I'm just getting so much value through the conversations that I'm having with people.
Amazing. Yeah. And Geneva's with us and saying, you know, 1,000%.
Yeah, thank you, Geneva.
Yeah. And I think, you know, what's happened has had a lot of, you know, with COVID and lockdowns and so on. And, you know, in the UK, everybody knows we just had such a long time in lockdowns. But I think what's happened is that people have gone online and then started to connect there in ways that they never would have. I mean, Geneva's in Canada for heaven, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how, you know, it shrinks the global community. I mean, my work was always, you know, traveling to places to run conferences for corporations, and now we can do it online, so much more connected.
Yeah, and I was saying to someone actually earlier, you know, the most recent work that I have got with clients has been because I've built my brand online. But I've worked with a company that's based in Amsterdam. I've never met them to this day. Copenhagen. So I was working for a renewable gas company in Copenhagen. I'm doing a coaching program with leaders in the US and coaching people in Kenya. And that's complete a global community. I was always working for UK global companies. And, you know, most of the employees are in UK based. You might have a Zoom meeting with someone who's in the international office. But at the moment, I'm working with so many international clients. And even on my social media, similar to a lot of you, you know, I have people who are from the US to the APAC region. I did a Business Development Sunday event a couple of months ago, which we'll discuss later on. And someone stayed up till like 1 o'clock in the morning to who's based in Singapore. And I just think that's amazing that, and I think it's also such a great thing that we're not restricted by boundaries. We can have so much access to so many different things because we're all, like I said, just seeing one piece of the puzzle. And when we just have a global community, I just think it just really helps us to understand the bigger picture on so many different levels. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying it. I was saying so many people are now going back into the office and a lot of their worlds are changing. You know, a lot of, like you said, people were reaching out globally and speaking to people. And I hope that even if people do go back into the office, that doesn't necessarily change, because I think sometimes you do go back into the office, especially if you're an employee, you do get into those silos of that company. And I think we really kind of, even as a world, just to heal through some of the things that we're going through and to get a better perspective on ourselves as a human race, we kind of really do need to have those connections globally. So yeah, I'm enjoying this whole process of being at home and talking to people we've never met, you know, even though we're in the UK, you know, we can do that.
Yeah, we can. And I think, you know, we actually, at least while we're not in the offices, most of us, if we were going to the offices, we would have a commute. We have more time now, more time to, you know, to really reach out and to really connect, or to really live our values, or, you know, do the things that are important to us. And I think, you know, once people start going back into the commute and all of that kind of thing, you know, for some people it's hours every day, you know, then it's really easy to get into your silo of your job or your business, and then, you know, get home and be exhausted and, you know, and not be reaching out or connecting. I think for me, one of the key things is that what we're finding and Geneva has a community as well. So what we're finding is that we have that common ground. And for a lot of us, especially on the mental health topic, we're starting to find out that we're not alone, and that it wasn't just us, you know, that we can talk about these things and other people will say, yeah, I'm there. I can relate, you know, or thanks for your help or your input or your ideas.
Yeah, and I think as well, there's so many of us who, you know, last year I felt that I was getting through the entire pandemic. It was really challenging, but I felt that I was. And then I shared, you know, I lost my mum and my dad within a week of each other towards the end. And that has had a really big impact on my mental health. And I feel that everyone has, you know, something that's happened. We had all those stuff around racial inequality. We had the COVID. We've had so many different challenges. And I think that, especially if you're talking about the fact that a lot of people are going back into commute, I feel that, especially for myself, I have to commute into London. And when you're away from it, it's almost like you're on the kind of that kind of wheel, like, you know, little mouse on a little wheel. When you're working in London, you don't realize how much tension you have in your shoulders and in your body, and you're just kind of going through the motion. And as a business owner, it's always really important to have non-negotiables. You know, maybe that might be time that you go to spend with your kids. It might be that you go to the gym, you go for a walk. And I feel that a lot of the time when you have to go and have those long commutes, sometimes those are the things that we sacrifice. And I feel, to a certain extent, I do hope that a lot of organizations, even if they don't go back full time, that they do go into a kind of hybrid where people can have that balance. Because I think that so many people are being challenged and continue to be challenged through their personal relationships, where they are in their life, but even everyone as a result of what's happening in a changing world and the pandemic. And I think we do need that opportunity in that space to, you know, you have your cabaret and you have all those different things that you like to do. And I think it's just so important that we can have that balance. And I think we just really need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you're mainly on Instagram, right?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. So for they always say go where your customers are. So on Instagram, I've been able to build a community, and I'm mainly on Instagram just because I love giving loads of information, doing videos and doing very colorful posts, as you've seen. But I'm also on LinkedIn for my training development business, because that's where all the corporates are. So then I have completely different content on LinkedIn, and it's actually a bit more subdued, and the content is a bit more corporate. I do think, to a certain extent, you probably see a bit more of my real self on Instagram. You know, I do try to be always authentic on LinkedIn, but I think that people gravitate to that more on Instagram. Whereas I was talking to someone about LinkedIn, you know, sometimes I don't get a lot of engagement, and I'll say to them, how come I don't get a lot of engagement? I said, well, people can't comment on LinkedIn, because if their boss goes online and sees that they're commenting on something throughout the day, I don't know if I spoke to you about that. No, I didn't. Yeah, but if someone goes online and they see that they're commenting on someone's post, they're going to be like, oh, you're not working. So sometimes people are a bit more self-conscious on LinkedIn, because they think, oh, who's looking, maybe it's a employer. Well, I think people in the Instagram community, just because of the way the platform is, they can be there more themselves. So if people want to have a look on both those places, you know, my name's Claudine Charles, and my Instagram handle is @Claudine, as you see the name, C Charles, as in Prince Charles, Ray Charles. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. @Claudine, I should have done this before. Charles.
So @Claudine C Charles.
C Charles.
Yeah, the C for Catherine, for Claudine Catherine Charles.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
There we are. There's where
that's me.
Yeah, amazing. I actually haven't. My eyes aren't that good, so I haven't actually noticed that it's a double C when I've seen you.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that, but yeah.
Oh well, but you did it.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I wanted to acknowledge that C. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And I think you know, we have a comment here from Geneva about, you know, I love that lockdown ended up creating a huge, massive awareness to mental health issues. I think there's so much longer. Why am I showing this? I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm just showing some random thing. Oh, this was my thing. This was my cabaret thing. I'll come back to this in a second. I just can't.
Okay, cool.
Hide it. I'll just hide it in a second if I can find it. So, but I think that the huge mental health thing has been, a big part of it. And so, bringing issues that are normally ignored to the silo of busyness. And for me, in lockdown, it was the first time that I had to go, what am I hiding from? Like, because I was always busy.
Yeah.
What I didn't know is that I wasn't asking the question, how do I feel? I was ignoring that.
Yeah,
and I think with things like LinkedIn, when we are trying to be business oriented, I'm really struggling with LinkedIn because I want to be able to express the things that I want to be able to express. And yet it's a business platform.
Yeah.
So we're not necessarily, we're talking about mental health, but we're not getting so real on mental health in the same way. And I think that can be a little bit of a false economy, because on Instagram we get to say, I'm having a terrible time right now.
Absolutely.
And people go, yeah, you can do this,
Yeah. I think it's almost like on LinkedIn, it's almost like people say, and it's not to say because, it's a trending hashtag. I remember there was a time where it was stay safe. So people would do things around mental health and do shout outs, but it just felt that it was also people just acknowledging that it's rather than people actually sharing. And I think as well, the way the platform is designed, the posts that do well are the ones that don't have pictures. So they call it long form or short forms. If you do just text long form, that LinkedIn sends people to that content. Or if it's just a short description, if you do videos or you do very dynamic content, then for some reason the algorithm, you see less visibility of those posts. And even video, we know that LinkedIn and Instagram and we have TikTok, video is king at the moment. And the fact that they're not prioritizing video, they have like LinkedIn Live and you have to apply for it and all that stuff. It's just I'm not really feeling LinkedIn. I'm on there, but I'm not really feeling it, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's where my corporate clients live, and that's where I need to talk to them, and I need to stay connected to them, and so on. But I am actually going to take a risk this week, and and that's kind of why I had that banner in my mind, because I wanted to remind myself about the Cabaret and Confidence series, because I've been talking a lot about creating a performance in Cabaret, and in my case, it's a burlesque performance that's coming up. And I've been kind of likening it to, this isn't really different to your social media business or to even to being an employee, showing up authentically, knowing your story, thinking about your in a stage performance would be your choreography, but your movements and how that's all congruent and consistent with what you're saying, and kind of the character, or in our case on social media being ourselves. And so I really see that it's not different at all. There is such a parallel between business and Cabaret, and I've been talking about it on in the Facebook community for the last week or so, and I really want to do it on LinkedIn. And then part of me is going, oh, you can't talk about Cabaret on LinkedIn because my corporate clients are going to think, oh, or I'll attract the wrong kind of people, or whatever it is. But for me, it's just so important for me to be able to talk about things like being on stage is not different whether you're on TikTok or any of the social medias, or or even on LinkedIn or on Zoom with your colleagues.
I think you should definitely do it, because I find like there's a lot of accounts where that stand out. It's like people use their difference to stand out on LinkedIn, because everyone is so corporate. And I think sometimes people go on social media to be entertained. And even on LinkedIn, they go on, even if they scroll, I'm sure people don't spend that. There's some people, it's their favorite social media channel, so they will spend ages on there. But I think that people want to see things that are different. So I definitely would do that. And even on LinkedIn, some of my posts don't land as well. But I thought to myself, like last year, I'm just going to post content that's authentic to me. So when I do very creative posts using my design skills, that doesn't get, even though it's a really great post, it doesn't get the most engagement. If I do something that's probably has mistakes, or I don't know it's something about the kind of human experience or mentality. If I do something where, you know, I say I made a mistake, you'll see people say, you know, I've had an accident, I've been in hospital, and those are the things that trend. But I thought to myself, I'm not kind of going to do that kind of trends where people actually almost have to say that they're struggling constantly. And I think people do it. I think people should show up authentically. But I think there are some people who almost made it a way of marketing themselves. So, and that's kind of you. There's been people that've written posts about that. You have to almost have a bit of a sorry post. And I think sometimes maybe it's more in the UK actually, because I think people in the UK do like and sponsor the underdog. But yeah. I made a really big decision last year that I was just going to show up authentically, and I was going to post things that I really enjoy, even if it was really kind of creative and dynamic, because I found that what I found is that a lot of my peers wouldn't like my post because they don't want to like my post and give me more visibility of their clients. So there's always that dynamic, you know. So I'll end up like a lot of my family members and friends or people that are former clients would like it. But a lot of my peers, you know, they pretend like they didn't, you know, which is sad. But there's some competitiveness in my circles. But you know, I'm expanding my circles. I've got you, I've got other people. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's a lot more people collaborating. You know, there's a lot. The thing that's come out of LinkedIn. I've started a series with a wonderful woman in Trinidad where from September every month we'll do something that is moving your body. And then, which is my thing, and then personal style and brand, which is her thing. And so we've kind of combined those into a program once a month, which I'm super excited about. But I didn't expect to find that. I expected to find corporate clients or, you know, those kind of, you know, the usual things that I do. And I found a lot more people saying, let's collaborate, let's create something. Yeah. You know, let's offer that.
And I think it's probably because you're showing up authentically as well. And I think when you show up authentically, you do connect and you attract your tribe. And there's so many people that kind of want to have that whole professional veneer and they want to just show up as they think people. You never know what people think. You never know what people experience unless you survey every single person. But people's changes, you know, will change. So yeah, I think definitely I can imagine how you built that connection because of the fact that you had that common ground and you expressed that you had that area of interest. So
yeah. Okay. So why is it, and we never really know what the algorithms, but what's the deal? Given that we're talking about authenticity, everybody's talking, saying, yeah, you need to be really authentic and you need to show up with you. So why is it that something like LinkedIn then is not promoting us to use videos? Because I know if I write a post, you don't hear it with my Canadian accent, you don't hear it with my, you know, kind of, I've been in the UK for a really long time. So you don't hear it with all that kind of culture and, you know, context. And yet if you heard it on a video, I can come across in a way that says, look, I can deliver training, I can connect with people, and they can feel that energy that they don't get out of writing. Why is it that we're not encouraging video on something like LinkedIn, which is allegedly for business people?
Yeah, I think as well, they're in a very comfortable position because really and truthfully, that's the only kind of work employment side. Instagram, they have Facebook, they've got TikTok, they've got Snapchat. They're constantly competing, YouTube. And, you know, I feel that LinkedIn have got a space of their own. So even like the LinkedIn Live, that should be across for everyone, but they're still testing it with people. And I feel to a certain extent, it's almost like it has a very archaic system. So the text post is easy for them to share because there's no pictures, there's no images. So it's almost like very much about the functionality of the system rather than actually embracing new technology. So that's why, to a certain extent, those posts do well because they can just show it to more people. Whereas if you have a very creative post that's an image or even a video, it's almost they show it to less people because of the system. It's almost like, I'm sure there must just be like a corporate IT system where they're just adding things on and patching things. That's almost like a visualization I get of it, LinkedIn. I would like other platforms just really to take it over. I know I shouldn't really say that. But yeah, I want them to have a bit more competition. Because I think when businesses have that competition, they're more likely to actually improve what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's very much at times a recruitment tool, kind of like finding people. But Katie's with us, and Katie's American, but in Sweden. And Katie's talking about, if I need to show up professionally, I get so bored. And it is that, where LinkedIn can be a little corporate and a little, I don't want to say conservative, but do you know what I mean? It's cautious. Yeah. And that's why I'm cautious to talk about Cabaret with corporate clients who might go, oh, we didn't know that about you. I don't know how we feel about working with you like that. But it's part of the dynamics. It's part of the confidence. It's part of the connection.
Yeah, and I do find, like, with a lot of corporates, I've had corporates where people actually can see because even though it's Cabaret, it's great that you actually say the similarities it has to performance. And we have people that do, for instance, belly dancing, or even I've been to corporate events where we've actually had the whole entire organization at a conference and we're singing. So I feel to a certain extent that is something that differentiates you from other people. And I also think that sometimes when you're a corporate, people want to see people. And I think everyone is seeing exactly the same people in their professional photos. When you have someone that has a podcast, you see them with the mic in front of them. So I think it's just something that is slightly different. But, you wouldn't necessarily, you might do, you're not going to put your full Cabaret garb, but you might actually say this is an area of interest and these are kind of the similarities, and then kind of take people on a journey where you can open up a bit more. So I think to a certain extent, I think it's good just to show a bit of personality and a bit of difference, because people, especially the whole thing around confidence, because I have shared with you that in my Instagram community, one of the biggest things is around confidence. When I first started working, I kind of thought, hey, I'm going to teach people all these strategies to grow their business. But one of the things that I was saying is that you could teach someone all the strategies in the world. You can show them how to the steps they go through to produce a video. But if they don't have the mindset, they don't have the motivation, that's another thing, and the confidence, then, you really do always need that underpinning area. So I think the whole thing around confidence, I have to admit, when people say they're mindset coaches on Instagram, like, mindset, are you going to have an audience for that? Because that's just one area of coaching. But it's such a massive area. So I can see why confidence, especially for corporates, is such an important area. Because, when you think about yourself in your 20s and early on in your career and how you had to build that confidence, if people can do that through performing arts and singing and Cabaret, then I think that definitely does help. And I think there's so many people that just have to come out of themselves and in their kind of stifled way of being. I will say, I do talk a lot, but I will say there's one company I did work for. It was a major US brand and it was a global brand. And they actually were very different. They actually had very senior managers who were very corporate, I would say repressed, actually. I shouldn't really say that, but they don't know what client I'm talking about. But that was kind of the message. And they wanted their a lot of their senior members of staff, their C-suite team, they had to go to conferences and they had to be people in front of their employees, and they couldn't do that. They were still in that kind of box. So they actually got a coach who was actually a transvestite, and he was a corporate coach to them. And if you saw this guy come into the building, you would be very shocked because it was such a corporate environment. But they actually said, we're getting this person in because he is so different and this is what they need. And this guy really challenged them. He was completely different. He was not corporate. So there are some corporates, because I think it depends on the people. But that person, everyone after a while wanted that coach. So all the kind of, because he was so good and helped them to come out of themselves. So I've so experienced it, like I said, with the singing and stuff. There are organizations that see we do need this. We can't just have these corporate coaches, because at the moment, especially the ones that are very kind of you have coaches that follow the kind of company line, who are very corporate, and they are just breeding identical leaders. And as the world is and how people are, they can't relate to their employees. So there are a lot of organizations that want very different coaches, because they realize that their staff are very different. It's like our politicians, they're so divorced from a lot of the people in the world, and they just need people that kind of, who are like people that we see in the communities in the world, to kind of coach them and do some upward coaching, just to give them a bit of what can I say? A bit of humanity, a bit of empathy as well. We have so many different words and personality.
Absolutely. And I think the I think that the difference is that in the decision makers. So, for example, on Instagram, and we'll talk about Instagram because I know you have a program, and I want to talk about it. So on Instagram, that is individual consumers typically, who are connecting with products or services. And something like LinkedIn, you might find an HR business partner who says, "This is amazing. I really want to explore this." But the decision maker, who is usually somebody in senior management setting the budgets and so on, would say, "We're not putting money into that." So I think there's a difference in terms of the audience, and I'm always trying to balance that bit on LinkedIn between speaking to the individuals, the users, and then also speaking to the decision makers, and that's where the difference can come in. Whereas on Instagram, you're speaking to the decision maker right there.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's about when you're on LinkedIn, actually saying this is the area of interest that you have. So Cabaret is not necessarily a negative thing, but I think that a lot of the time when I've had voice coaches or communication coaches, they've been actors, or and we've had people that have been on soaps. And I think sometimes people like people from different areas, because I think to do cabaret, to do performing arts, that takes a lot of confidence. And I think that is your selling point, the fact that you're able to do something like that. So I think it's more about expressing that that's a strength, and that is how it's built your confidence, rather than it's something that you're going to bring in to the corporate environment and how you're going to work with it. Yeah, so you're not going to turn up in full burlesque, but this is something that has, and you have had, so there's so many different parallels between business and cabaret that you can take in and help people to become more expressive. But I do think there's certain sectors that won't, definitely decision makers, like stuffy law firms. I've worked in law firms, and I've worked across so many different sectors, and I think people I think banking would like it because of the banks and stuff. But I think stuff like kind of environmentalist, maybe environmental, but I think one of the areas I can imagine it would be law firms. I think management consultancies, they would like it. PwCs and the EYs, they will like that, just because it shows you've got a personality. Because especially in I used to work at PwC, and I can say that because and it's the same in EY. It's not a trade secret. They have consultants that are very corporate, and people say, like their clients say, I can see a PwC employee every time they walk into the building, because they all wear identical shoes, they all behave in exactly the same way. So as an organization, they're always trying to help their consultants to have more personality. So there's some organizations that are really struggling with making their employees more personable, that would actually say, hey, let's do something like this. But it's whether or not they do it at longer term, or if it's something that would just be a fad. But I think it's about saying that there's similarities, but I know what you mean about decision makers. It just takes HR advisor or procurement manager, or someone who works as a head of learning, to say, hey, this is someone we want to bring in. And decision maker, then especially the procurement managers, come up with this long list of why it might not work. So it's resonating with the right clients. But then I always say, how many clients do you need? If you can get 5 or 10 people, and there's so many different organizations in the world, if you can get 5 or even maybe 10 regular clients, and they like what you do, then we can build a business with it. So and then once you get those recommendations, that's what happens. It's like with the person who's a transvestite, the fact that people were endorsing him. He's now in The Guardian. I've forgotten what his name is. He's really sought after performance coach, and that's because he turned up authentically. Someone gave him a chance, he got those recommendations, and then people were like, hey, look at all these leaders he's helped, and some of them are quite stuffy and very not introvert. I won't say introverted, because that's actually, introversion is about where you get your energy from. You can still be confident as an introvert. What can I say? I can't even express the words, but they're kind of very tight. Well, yeah, it's a negative word. Contained, repressed, self-conscious, kind of very corporate, follow the corporate line.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. And, you know, Katie makes a great point here about, I think we've got to be willing to scare some people away to be able to hold our arms wide open for the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I always say that whole thing about being authentic, because I think when you resonate with your audience, you enjoy working with them. And I think, yeah, people do say that, especially in marketing, you need to kind of scare people away to kind of get rid of all the people that are the kind of time wasters. But then when you actually resonate and you can connect with people that like what you do, you know, and then you can really embed yourself in the organization. You can coach loads of leaders and they will become, you'll be on their coaching pool and you become one of their kind of go-to clients. And I think that's kind of what you want. And like I say, how many clients do you need? If you could get 5 and you're working with consistently with maybe how many of their employees each week, and then you can use endorsements, get their testimonials on LinkedIn, get into their publication, get into awards, get more recognition. Then people think, oh, this organization's taken her on. Okay, then maybe there's something behind this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there will always be followers in businesses, so that you see everybody else go first. So Instagram is quite different because we're talking direct to the individuals, to the consumers, whether that's, you know, followers, whether that's people, you know, sharing our content, or whether that's people buying from us. So we said with LinkedIn that long form posts work better rather than videos in terms of the algorithm. What works best with Instagram?
So there was a massive, or it wasn't, I'll say massive, it was a big announcement a couple of weeks ago that Instagram want to use a variety of content, because previously it was always the latest feature. So when carousels came in, and carousels are the posts where you have about 10 images, and then they had IGTV, stories and reels, and every time they introduced a new feature, that was the post that you had to use, because when these organizations spend millions on a new feature, they want it to work. So they actually prioritize content creators and accounts that use their new features. So for a long time recently, if you use the reel, that would be prioritized on any other content that other people would. So many people, you see their feeds would have been bombarded with reels of people producing. But now they've made an announcement that they want a variety of content, but there is a big focus on what they call the whole HD experience. And I think it's because we're so, as a world at the moment, you know, it's all about Netflix, YouTube. YouTube is one of the biggest social media channels. So they want people to produce images that they say are almost like, they want the size of the images to be a lot larger, but they're also prioritizing videos. So that is a big tick for people who love doing great videos, who like doing like yourself, to kind of, you have your brand colors and you create great content. They are prioritizing content that is kind of using that media, because it's all about, you know, social media is like our new TV. People go there to be entertained. So if you've got a reel, if you've got a video, if you've got a story, and it is kind of it's very well produced, and it's a large size. So you can actually Google the new Instagram post size. It's actually a larger size than what it was. A lot of people are using landscape. Now they want the whole kind of portrait. So I think it does get quite technical, but if you use tools like Canva, or they come with the templates already there, so you don't have to worry about the size.
Yeah, but, and I use Canva, so I hadn't actually noticed that the size was different, because it just does it automatically.
yeah, absolutely. So they update it, but now with what the post they want is just a high quality post, and they also announced as a part of the changes that they're making that they're actually going to be giving £1 billion to content creators. And again, I think reading between the lines, that is because they're competing. With YouTube, even if you have a small following, you can get some income through advertisement, and it's more dynamic for you to be able to make money, even if you haven't got tons of viewers. And I think Instagram wants to move towards that, and they want to almost create a bit of competition for people and encourage people to actually content create, because the more content they have on the platform, the more people are going to be on it. And even as someone who is a content creator, I have got to the point where I'm finding a lot of people are not content creating. So a lot of the time I can scroll through my feed and it goes, you got to the end of your content. Like there's a like announcement. It's like, oh, okay. I never used to have that because so many people are not posting. And I think that I haven't necessarily seen anyone announce it, but I do think to a certain extent, especially because people are at home, they're not outside, they're not going to dinners and stuff. A lot of people are creating content a lot less. People, kids can do the TikTok dances and stuff like that on TikTok, but a lot of people are doing less content creation. So I think I'm not surprised that they said that their biggest focus now is on content creators, and they're going to help them to monetize content creation. So that's an even more reason to start producing videos and start creating content, because coming soon there's going to be a way in which you can actually make money from just creating content, even if you have a really small following. So that's good. I like that. That's what LinkedIn need to do. They're not doing these changes and constantly updating and making their platform more desirable to its users.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Instagram, because that kind of levels the field a little bit, because otherwise you've got these people with millions and millions of followers, and then the smaller person stands less chance of being able to stand out.
Yeah, and I think as well there's a lot of people that have millions and millions of followers who are just doing selfies. So I hope there is for content creators, because I think there's quite a lot of people that can, just because of who they are, just post something that's random, or even repost a meme or something like that they haven't created themselves. So I hope they do reward people who actually go into trouble, even if for their company, to produce a video or to create original content. And like I said, you always say, with a million followers, there's so many people. I didn't even realize that there's so many. I think in the past probably 3 months, I've really learned and appreciated that there's so many people that have fake followers. It's and it's so sad, because I'm sure that again, it's all about the confidence. People don't want people to look at their social media and see that they've only got a certain amount of followers. But even if you had 500 followers, if you had 3 followers who are maybe giving you a contract with like £1,500 a day, that's still good. How many people do you need? You could have 1 million followers, like a lot of people have, and not have any not monetizing it. I do speak a lot. I did produce a post recently, actually, about a content creator who had 2 million posts. And how many t-shirts did she sell? She had 2 million followers, and she could only sell 36 t-shirts.
Wow.
So that just shows, okay, so even if she had authentic followers, again, she didn't think about the customer's needs. People are just following her for entertainment. So it's so dynamic. It's not kind of very clear cut. That's why even just having a small community that you can speak to, who resonate with you, who talk to you in your comments, you could have a lot more than someone that has 1 million followers, because they might not be able to DM or even contact any of those people, and because they don't have a community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really easy to say, oh, I've got 500 followers, and I've got 3 people liked my post. Oh, it's only 3 people. Where's the other 497? Yeah. But actually, those people might be your real audience, and they're more likely to engage with you. Yeah, so when you say videos, just coming onto that, when you say videos, are you talking about the IGTV stuff? In other words, video content that's over a minute, or are you talking about keeping videos small so that they're within the minute and they're part of your Insta posts?
That's a good question, actually, because, reels, you'd have those kind of 15-second, 30-second reels. So that's video content. But I think it's all video content, because even like there's a lot of experts or influencers who actually go live for an hour or even 90 minutes. And they might have a conversation like we are, where they're just having, it's a collaboration. Sometimes people have a script. And as you know, when you're doing a live, people come and go. So as people come and go, they're saying the same script, because Instagram actually rewards people who go live regularly. So you have a lot of accounts who say, I go live every Tuesday. And another way they reward them is that you actually, I don't know how long it's been there for, but people can actually give you badges. So you can actually, and that's something that's coming through, monetize through lives. And I have to admit, I haven't been going live because I was doing it a lot last year, but after that bereavement, I stopped kind of going live as often as I did. But yeah, so I haven't investigated it, but there are ways in which you can actually get badges and people can actually pay through badges on Instagram. But in terms of video content, it is really videos as we've got here. So it could be, you could produce videos in your stories, your reels, your IGTV, where you may even pre-record it and then just post it to your feed, or you might even go live. So it's all kind of those kind of video content. But
and
also, I even produce video content in post. I sometimes get gifts, and so I think any movement content is really because sometimes people don't want to be on the video themselves, but you can actually get video content externally and kind of even maybe have your company name. It could be like a branded video. It's always good to kind of get the confidence of being on camera, but we can create cameras and promos from so many different ways. So definitely.
That's cool. Now you have a program starting. Is it next week?
Absolutely. So I have a monthly event which I hold, which is called Business Development Sundays. So every month I go and I deliver a session. So the first one was on how to create a training event. So many people want to add additional income to their business. So many people, digital products is like one of the biggest growing areas. So if you are a business owner, you could actually create a course, and that could be a low-cost offer and a bridge to people maybe going into your coaching program or even upselling to other programs. So I did an event on that. I did an event on content, so how to create great content for Instagram, and that was an event that I held last month. And this event this month, which is actually going to be taking place on Sunday, is called Account Management 101, because there's a lot of people who simply just post their content on Instagram. But one of the things I always ask people is, how do you drive people to your content? Because you could start your account, maybe have 3 followers. So how do you increase your visibility? One of the ways is, hashtags that people know, and hashtags do work. But then how do you drive new followers? How do you increase your visibility? And that is really how, what I'm going to be discussing. But also how to manage your account. What are the things you should be doing each day? A lot of people may think, I don't want to do too much because it's just another job for me. But, it's about what can you do consistently, maybe for an hour a day on your account. Or even if you only post 3 times a week, maybe 3 times a week, what can you do to increase your audience and to increase your visibility and really manage your account more effectively, to generate leads and to get more visibility, to build a community and to get more followers? So that is what the event on Sunday is going to be about. It's going to be taking place in a number of different time zones. So you can go onto my account and look at that event. But also as well, it's going to be recorded. So say, for instance, you book onto the event and you can't attend at that particular time because of maybe your time zone or because you're busy. If you sign up to the event, you will receive a recording of the event that you can keep. So that is going to be taking place on Sunday.
Amazing. And then do you register for each of the sessions?
Yeah.
Or do you register for the full kind of academy?
Yeah, so at the moment I am testing this. So it's an event that I've been running for a few months. So this is going to be my 3rd one. But what I would like to do is actually have like an academy. So once I've had 5 events, what I'd like to do is actually have a service where people can access the previous events for pay a monthly fee. They then automatically get signed up to every monthly event. And they also be part of my Facebook group. And they also have an opportunity to have what I call like office hours, where they can actually have coaching with me in a small group to help build their brand online. So that's something that I am working towards. But yeah, I'm testing these events. So let's see how they go. But that's something that I would like to do in the future.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. And so how do they get in touch with you? I mean, we've talked a couple of times about how to find you. Do they just message you, or what? How? If they want to...
So if they go into my Instagram account, they can actually log on to the event there. And I can actually share the link with you as well if you are happy to.
Yeah,
So
so
I
you
could
put it in
share.
the comments because you can get into the comments.
Yeah, so I get into the comments and I'll add the link so people can just click on the link there and sign up for it. So that will be a very easy way of doing that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Amazing.
cool. Yeah, so bear with me because I'm new to this. So chat with hosts and other guests. Okay, just put it there. Very simple.
Very simple. Oh, so I love StreamYard. I really do.
Yeah,
I
okay.
mean, so it's a gaming platform. Zoom obviously has its limitations and its glitches, and especially with more and more people using it, I found it kept cutting out, and it doesn't have the infrastructure to be able to hold on to a connection. If it cuts, it cuts. Whereas StreamYard kind of has like a little bit of a delay before it cuts you off, and hopefully by then that little glitch has kept you. So I've never been cut off of StreamYard.
Oh, okay, so that's good. So yeah, let's do that. And yeah, when we had our talk, we went through it, and I thought that this is a very good system.
I know.
Like
I should be on commission for StreamYard now.
yeah. So you've really sold it to me. So yeah. So let's see how. Let me see. I'm just testing this link now as before I put it in. Before. Okay, it does work. Yay. Okay, so let me just add it. Yeah, let me just add it to there. So it's just a Bitly link. So it's a very simple link, and you can just access the event. And then it has a link there, and it's actually going to be an event in Teams. So now that I know StreamYard, I would most probably use that. But I wanted to do it in a system where I can actually share my screen and take people through what you can do to really improve what you do on Instagram. Because I do think, like what I'm saying about the algorithm changes, it does become a minefield, and it's difficult to keep up with the changes. You know, before people talk about you need 30 hashtags, then they say, hey, you should use 15. How do you encourage people to comment? There's so many different things that you can do to get more people or encourage people to engage in your account. So I'll be discussing that at that event.
Okay, so this is Sunday. And what is the academy called? It's product development, isn't it?
Yeah, so the actual what I'm actually doing every month is called Business Development Sunday. And the actual academy, which kind of going to be like a bit of a membership service that hasn't been developed yet. So that's something that I'm looking towards doing. So let's see how it goes. But this event is something that's just going to be every month, and people sign up. And this is a paid event, but sometimes they're free. So it just depends on the amount of energy I have to put into it, because a lot of the time with a lot of events, they does take a lot of work, but also it's about the value you get from the event. So this could actually really help with client leads. But yeah, so that's what I'm kind of doing.
Amazing. Well, I got very excited when I saw that message about the Sundays, and I knew it was coming, but I was like, oh, this is cool. This is very cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm really enjoying the events, and people are getting so much value out of it. So when people click on the link, they'll be able to see a few of the testimonials that I've got. But I always try and ensure that I'm not like one of those creators who you go to the event and they spend half the event talking about how much money they've made and how successful they are and what people are not doing and what they should be doing and why people are not successful. And then they say, if you're not one of those people, why don't you sign up to this event? No, it's not going to be. It's actually going to be an event where you learn and you actually can take things away, actionable tips. And like I said, that's one of the things that I've really hated about a lot of peers in the business, and that's why I decided to create this business, because I've experienced that where you sign up for an event all excited and then you think, oh, okay, I have to pay this amount to get to the actual event to actually get the real value, and you just feel cheated. So yeah, I don't deliver events like that because I've experienced that frustration.
I feel the same way with coaching programs. I've been a coach for over 25 years in my own business. And I feel like when people sell coaching and they're like, you have this 12-month program, I think I don't need half of that stuff.
Yeah.
I just have 6 of those months. And then when you get into the 6 of those months, then they're trying to upsell. And it's like, actually, that's not coaching.
Yeah.
That's not coaching, because coaching is about you and me connecting so that I can achieve my potential and so I can, achieve my goals and so on. That's coaching.
Yeah, that is basically
there's nothing wrong with a 6 months or 12-month program at all, but call it what it is, which is training.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you could get so much value out of one session, 2 sessions. If you have to wait that whole 6 months, it's like, that's just
Exactly.
really how many, that they just thinking, how many direct debits can I take out of this? Yeah.
Yeah. And I have had a coach throughout this year. We've done things in the order that, because she started off by saying, this is my program, this is the agenda. And I said, okay, I'm really sorry, that's not how I work. I need session 3. I need that first because that's what I'm struggling with. And then I need to do session 7. And then, you know, and we jumbled it all around. And now we pretty much just work on, what do you need to work on? And, and it's really been interesting because, and this is true of coaches anyway, that she's learned a lot about not just sticking to a program and calling it coaching, you know. So it's been a really collaborative thing, which has been a lot of fun, and I've gotten more value out of it because it's tailored to me specifically, and it's only her, so why shouldn't it be tailored to me?
Yeah, I think as kind of learning professionals, we know that one of the things that are the bread and butter of our roles is actually meeting people's needs. And I think that there are so many people who are in online digital market and business growth who kind of go into training and think, oh, you just have to stand there and talk. And they actually don't really realize how much work goes into design and helping people to retain information, helping things to be memorable. It's not just about going and, you know, some people design courses like how we're talking here, and that's not really a course because you're not thinking about what people need. We're just kind of having a bit of a dialogue. And I think there's a lot of people that have courses that are not actually courses. And if you haven't really had an experience of attending a good course, they'll have fans and say, oh, that's brilliant. I've seen things that have been really rubbish and people said, oh, that's brilliant. And I think you actually haven't really attended a good course, because then you'll be like, wow, you know,
Yeah, absolutely. I did a review for somebody who was doing had made their first training course, and they asked me to review it, and I do that quite a lot for trainers who are fairly new, and especially this program. I actually did a couple last week. One of them was kind of like half and half. It was sort of training, but one of them was just, it wasn't training at all. It was information giving, and it was like, this is cool information, but it is not training.
Yeah, you know? Absolutely.
So you either change your approach or you change your marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. I love chatting with you. We are going to record podcast, and then we can get into, you know, stuff. So that will be upcoming. But I know actually that was what we started with, was let's record a podcast. And I realized that this is effectively now a podcast because it will go up on the podcast and on IGTV and everywhere else.
Cool.
Yeah. But I mean, why not, right? Because
this is good. We've had a really good conversation. I'm very happy for you to do that.
Yeah. And so thank you for that. But we will do a podcast which we'll pre-record and so
absolutely.
on.
But we have a good rapport, and we talk so much. I think even though we spoke for an hour, we can speak for another hour on a completely different subject. Absolutely.
And that's the thing, is I think I was just so excited. It was like, yeah, we'll record a podcast and that'll go up in a few weeks. But actually, can you just go live with me Monday? Because I just wanted people to know you and to meet you and to get a feel for you, and, you know, and then reach out. And, you know, particularly it's like you'd be missing, if you wait a few weeks, you'd be missing this Sunday for you know, for your program. So I'm really so thankful that you were here with us, and people really can get a feel for what you're about and what your work is, and then reach out, you know, if it's something this is the right time, and you know, and you're the right person, then it's just meant to be. So
absolutely.
I'm thankful that you were here with us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And you had something that you wanted to promote as well, didn't you? You saying that it came up as if you got something else that you were going to
well I was more talking about, I've been doing this actually this one the other day. So I've been doing this series. So we're on part 7. I think I have a total of 12 parts. So last week we did I think 1 through 8, all about like how to create a cabaret performance or act. And then I put that banner in front of me so that I would remember to kind of, you know, because I knew we were going to kind of look at like LinkedIn and Instagram and I really, you know, I because we were talking about authenticity, I think it's so important that, you know, you can find your right audience and you can be authentic. And yet even though you and I have been doing this a little while, you know, it's still those questions about like, where's the right place to say which kind of content, and I am going to take that risk and put it up on LinkedIn today and start that series on LinkedIn as well. And if business people don't like it, well, that's whatever. That's fine. But I think that, you know, it's just so important to me that people understand that confidence is confidence, and have confidence in some parts of your life, and you want confidence in other parts of your life, or at other times, maybe it's, you know, just at a particular moment, and we can always tap into that, you know. And I always talk about, you know, I wear very high heels, 9-inch heels in Cabaret, and we feel fierce when we put on something like that.
Yeah.
And you can tap into that anytime you want to. You don't have to have the thing that makes you feel confident. You can still tap into that voice and that connection at any time. So that was kind of been my purpose and my soapbox, that'll end up being a 2-week theme because I'm just so passionate about it. And then when I started talking to you, that was kind of where this Monday thing came from, because I was like, you know what, but you show up on Instagram, and you're out there, and you're sharing your content, and that is so inspiring. And today we're talking about stage fright, and you know, and here it is, we're just like, we didn't have an agenda.
Yeah.
You know, we just
absolutely.
And we feel
having that conversation. And what I would be interested in finding out, especially from your LinkedIn followers, you know, how many of them actually do, because like, you always find people that maybe sing in a choir, or, you know, they do performing arts, or they are in an amateur dramatics team. So I had quite a few colleagues like that. So it'd be interesting to see how many people, or if they're willing to admit that they have actually do something outside of their corporate life that's actually built their confidence, and what their story is.
Well, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I will end this broadcast. I'm sure people will skip around and find what suits them. Thank you for everyone who was here and on and off with us as well. And I'm going to sign off now. Thank you, Claudine.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've had such a good time with you again. Thank you.
I know, we just chat all the time. Yeah. We have a sign off in Confidence Through Cabaret where we always say, reminding you that it is your body, it's your world, and it's your stage. So take up some space, own it, do the thing, follow your passions, get in touch with Claudine if you want any pointers or tips, or get involved in the business development on Sundays, or just follow the content. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I love that saying. Yeah, absolutely. The world is our stage. We need to just own it and be confident to do that.
Yeah. And you know what? If you haven't done this for a little while, you know, stretch out and own your space. Take up space. It makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
It feels good to be out. You know, at the very least, to be stretching. It's just
absolutely. It's good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Just moving. Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks a lot. See you. Bye.
Bye.